What's up, everybody? So, illegal migrants might actually need due process. And I know to some of you that sounds stupid because, of course, they need due process, just like anybody else. But my take on that is if they came over here without due process, due papers, due how you get over here, without due how you get over here normally, then they should be sent back without due anything. They should just be sent back. But with this article, it might have changed my mind a little bit because, as you can see, the U.S. deports immigrants from Jamaica, Cuba, and other countries to African Kingdom of Eswatini. So apparently, there were 5 immigrants that were sent to the African nation of Eswatini, and a time before this, it doesn't say when it happened. 8 men were sent to South Sudan, and since the 8 men were sent to South Sudan, about 2 weeks ago, the men who were described as violent criminals, um, they declined to say where those men were. So we don't know where those men were, how they're doing, if they're still alive. We're just sending them to different countries that they're not from, that they've never been to, and we just don't care, I guess. So Eswatini, I don't know about South Sudan. They said that they do plan on bringing the immigrants back to their own country, but it says in a series of X posts, the Eswatini government said it would collaborate with the U.S. and the UN Migration Agency to facilitate their return home and ensure due process and respect for human rights is followed as part of the repatriation. The government gave no time frame for that to happen. So you're saying that you're going to return them home with instead of returning them home in the first place, which when you get later into the article, they say a lot of countries don't accept some of these immigrants back either because they just don't want to accept immigrants back from the U.S. or because of the violent crimes that they committed. And yeah, so these men that they sent to Eswatini were not able to be sent back to their home. So now they're gonna try to get them back, and they have no time frame for it. And what has happened with the South Sudanese immigrants that were sent over there, we don't know where they are, what happened to them. So the same may happen to these uh, immigrants. So I find that really crazy. Down here it says that it tries to go into how this is probably a bad decision given how Eswatini is kind of violent. It says because there in some pro-democracy protests there were people killed, and they're very their current government is very against democracy. But that doesn't have anything to do with how they treat the how they would treat some criminals or just illegal migrants that they accepted. They could have some nice prisons over there. Who knows? But I do find this a bit crazy to just send them to some place, have some secret deal because we don't know why they accepted them. We know they have to have some type of deal for the for the government over there to want to accept these men. There has to be some type of deal. We don't know what we're giving them in exchange. We don't know if there was some type of talks about protecting the men or having them in some type of nice human conditions. We don't know if there's any type of talks about that because not everybody believes in giving people nice human conditions, food, water, and uh, maybe a pillow. But we're gonna get into some of the comments of the article, and one person says what the AP, which is the Associated Press, the which who wrote the article, what the AP seems to not grasp is that deporting these individuals to countries not their own is because it's geographically more sensible. The farther away they are, the more difficult it is for them to try and come back again. So I don't think that that's the reason that they did that. And if it is the reason, then that's even worse than that's even worse than what I thought initially. Because if we're just sending people to lands far away from here just so we don't have to see them again, then then something really has to change because these people are literally far away from their homes. Not only the US, they're far away from their own homes. And I know that could be a great deterrent, but you don't see how that could ruin somebody's life? These are still people. Uh, it is still barbaric. Super barbaric. Uh, does Greg proclaim to be a Christian or just no empathy, no compassion, and moral clarity? This is crazy. That's not true, lol. I hope it's not true. Okay. Is the US paying the third world country to take for taking them? Yes. What is the target country getting out of this? Probably money. It costs to house them. Not if you kill them. That was a joke, but that might be what the South Sudanese did. Who's paying for it? Us. I can't imagine any country wanting to pay for this. They don't. They must be getting something in exchange for it. Do tell. Instead of deporting migrant workers and then suggesting Medicaid recipients work in the fields that don't even exist where they live, make these illegals work in the fields. Or is that slavery? No, it's not slavery. And the thing is, it's crazy because Mexican illegals, there's a little trope about them working in fields, and it might not just be a trope. It's probably it's reality. It is reality. Um, but we can't just have them do that because because we want them to go work in fields because the next in my own uh theory or my own thoughts that doesn't work because if when we let them have kids, they become normal Americans. So we get one generation of farm working illegals, and then every generation after that is Americans. They're gonna be harder working. They're gonna be, you know, and they're gonna take over. In my own estimation, they're gonna take over. Every generation after the first generation doesn't have to do that. That's the thing. Some people talk as if they have some kind of right to know the answer to those questions. We do. In a democracy, we should. Just like El Salvador, the US is paying for them. This regime cannot afford to help their citizens but can afford to pay millions for a concentration camp in Florida and to pay other countries to house all the dangerous criminal farm workers who were paying taxes before the orange guy decided they needed gone. I don't really agree with that because were they really paying taxes? Just sales taxes. Two, I think they're not really paying. When you think about a country that is so unheard of, maybe I'm wrong, but when you think about a country that is that unheard of, they probably will take pennies on the dollar to house the immigrants, and we'll probably be making more out of this than uh than what we're spending. And if we're probably making more out of this than what we're spending, and it has to be that because I'm sure he knows that if we just have them over here and we pay to house them over here, then we at least get to pay American people and have the money circulating in America instead of paying other people relatively the same price and having money circulate over there. So I'm sure we're getting a good deal out of it, unless he's stupid. And yeah, the law says they are deportable. It says they were convicted criminals and individuals so barbaric that their home countries refuse to take them back. They should be happy they found them somewhere to go. That's pretty true. They in the article it did say a lot of them were accused or convicted of R and child SA. So yeah, they weren't the best people in most of our moral compasses. I wish he would make up his mind where he's going to send people. So he's just gonna make up his mind. We're gonna send people to one good place and just send everybody there. Come on now. I was born in the U.S., but do not support unconstitutional acts because I am not a traitor. Just because you believe in the Constitution doesn't mean you're not a traitor. But I digress. I need to be able to tell people where to go, looking for me when Trump deports me because I follow Christ and not Trump. This is so BS. I do not hear this call. He is not my shepherd. Okay, nobody said that. Anyway, the least this administration could do is be consistent. So when I don't show up for work, my family can find me before I'm dead. If you were born here, then you don't have to worry about this. You're just did not use to be a problem when we upheld the clause on cruel and unusual punishment. But now doing this is not unusual. Man, if you were born here, you don't have to worry about it. They did get rid of the birthright citizenship thing, but if you're already a citizen, then you're already a citizen. They're not gonna snatch your citizenship. But Trump has threatened to do that to some people. But as long as you aren't on this bad side, that bad, then you shouldn't have anything to worry about. Um, but that's the end of the video. Let me know what you think. I am out.